Are you with me here? Alright, the first couple, and I noticed a lot of you were struggling with the dot plot. You had to make a stem and leaf. Remember, in your leaf, that's your single digit. That's the rightmost digit, all by itself. The other part of it is your stem. So however you divide off your rightmost leaf, the rest of it's your stem. In this case, you've got the tens column and the ones column. Make sure you give me a key. Make sure you give me a title.
Yeah, this.
Yes.
What if it goes into like hundreds?
Well, then you build this down here. So then after 9 would be 10.
10. Oh,
Then 11. Yeah. You still leave your rightmost digit as your leaf.
You need a key.
A key. A key just says, like, see how you got 71? You did 7/1. And that gave you 71. Remember, your leaves have to be in order, lowest to highest. They have to match up. Like, they have to be in line like this. Keep them in line. Otherwise, you really can't tell who's got the most category and whatnot. If you turn this, it almost looks like a histogram by class levels of 10. The dot plot was a little bit more annoying, and because you had to go from 10 to almost 100. So you had to like spread this out a little bit and put your dots as best you can. And which one would you rather look at to describe your quality? Okay, some kids like the dot plot, some like the stem and leaf. The stem and leaf, you can still see which one has the most, where your approximate numbers are. I tend to be a stem and leaf over a dot plot because this dot plot looks like it's almost spread out to me. You got a little bit more concentration in here, but I think you see the numbers far better over here. But whatever is your preference works out good. Remember to give them titles. You need to have titles on any of your graphs, circle graphs, pie charts, whatever you want to call them. They have to have a title. Every graph has to have titles. Okay, stop me if you have any questions. Okay, here's a pie chart, circle graph. Now, you have to figure out a percentage for this. A percentage is part over whole. That's like your relative frequency. Only we just multiply it by 100, or we just move the decimal place to get a percent. Your pie chart has to have percent on them. So add them all up, get the total. Here's your total, 10,010. Part over whole, 620 over 1010. Divide it, multiply it by 100, and give me your percents. Make sure your percents add up to 100. Sometimes they don't because of rounding. So just force one to make sure they add up to 100. Sometimes you're rounding all of them up, round 1 or 2 down, and it'll add up to 100. When you do your pie chart, title, percents have to go on here, not the frequency, because they won't have any idea what the frequency, how it relates to the others. And kind of make sure you have it reasonable. I don't want to see the 5 being bigger than the 13. It doesn't matter what order you put them in. You can put the 61 on that side, on the bottom, on the top, wherever you decided to put it. But just make them reasonable. Like the 10 and the 11 should be similar. The 13 slightly larger. The 5s almost look like 2 10s in it. I could put 2 5s in my 10. Yes?
For some reason, I feel like, I don't know, is there a trick to this? I started off with a 61, like when I went to 50 and a little bit over, it's like 61.
Right, watch. This is a good trick. Put it in quarters. You said 61 is more than 50, right?
Yeah.
So watch. So how much more than 50 did you go? 11. If each quarter is 25, there's 14 left in here. That's another way to kind of judge. So pick one. 13. I'll make it almost to there. There's my 13. And I have a 1. My 5 is small. Make that a 5 and split these up and make that your 10 and your 11. They're going to be close.
But the 11 just fit that.
The 11 put here, 10 put there.
Now you got another extra slot though, right?
No. That's my 5. This whole thing is 61. That whole thing is 61. I just had my tick marks there. But It doesn't really matter if you use the top 61. Like you could do this instead. Make this 61 up here. So say it went from here to here, and this whole thing is 61%. And then you've already used 11. So maybe now you can split this up, give it 5, and then you've used 11 and 5, 15. So maybe you put the 13 there. Whatever you prefer to do, as long as it's in proportion. Like I don't want to see this. I don't want to see my 61 here, my 5 over here. You know what I'm saying? As so out of proportion. I'm not asking you to go by angles, just like eyeball your percents. Just keep track of what's in each sector, each quarter. Pareto, we took the Pareto. Now be careful, guys. Pareto has frequency here, not percents. Not percents. We want to see the total frequency on your Pareto, and we want to see it highest to lowest. Highest really makes it stand out. Where are most people spending New Year's Eve? At home. Looks like at home. And the rest, we can even say they're very similar. And we noticed they were very similar when we tried to put it on our circle graph. 10, 11, 13 were all very similar. But the biggest one, people staying at home. So Pareto, make sure it's highest to lowest. Make sure you label. There should be a label over here, places. These are your places. Places to stay. Time series. One thing to make sure about a time series, it sits in the middle of your graph. Don't drop the end down. Leave it sit there. Break your years. Try to keep your percents. This is in percent. We have to use percent. If you break your percent, show me where you broke it. Sometimes we don't like to break the Y because you need to see like where it starts, how high it was. Sometimes you just need to see the consistency of it, and then it doesn't matter. We can break the graph. Make sure you give it a title. Make sure that you say your labels, years. Good? Time series is almost as annoying as a dot plot.
I mean, that was pretty simple.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that it's not all one line
It's
connected.
not all the one, they're all segments. Keep them segments. You want to see, this is why you want it segments. You want to see the steepness. You want to see, is it steep? Is it leveled out? I want to see the steepness. Look, these are almost flatlining. There's no change there. There's very little change when it's like constant almost. I see a steepness, oh, I got a big change. I got a big jump from here to here. I have very little change from there to there. So that's what you see in your time series. And again, remember, yes?
You still see like little change if you're like lines on the side?
Yep.
Spaced out.
Actually, these are connected. They're connected. They're all connected. They're connected with segments. Like, you see gaps in mine?
Your side has two voices. What if yours is just one
Cut
line?
it. Yeah. You're
It will be
fine.
more spaced
If
out.
more spaced out, that's fine.
But you will see more change.
Well, you put it in perspective. No, you still get the perspective of this still will be the steepest, regardless of how, yes, those will have a little bit more change in them. Yeah. Okay. Mean, medians, modes. Can everybody put this in their calculator? And figure out where your mean L1. Everybody can do it with the frequency L1, L2. Okay? Now, when you do this, if you're going to look to see where your median is and where your mean is, then you have to put them in order. If you can eyeball it over here, how close is that mean to that median?
It's pretty good.
Very close. So, what measure can we use for your measure of central tendency? Which one? Either one. I would prefer to use the mean. Most people prefer to use the mean because people understand the mean and average. People say median. What do you mean median? So they haven't looked at this in a while. If these are close, go with the mean. If they're not close, it's probably because you have an outlier or you have something that has, like on your frequency graph, there's fewer on one end than on the other end. There's a big clump. and then the other side of it's fewer. It skews it. Remember to watch for the skew. The mean follows the skew. Yes.
Yeah, outlier on either side.
Yes, because it's a skew either way. You guys were asking about this. Read this carefully. The first three tests, or the first three scores were weighted 20% of your final grade. If you add up 3 times 20 and add in a 40, that's 100% of your grade. They did this based on 100. It has to be based on 100. So the first 3 scores were 20%. Multiply them by 0.2. The last 4, 40%. Like a lot of teachers will do this. 20, 20, 20, and then they'll put in an 86, 86, and then they're all weighted the same. See what I'm saying? They'll make this match. They'll put 2 of these in. If everybody's a 2, watch. 96, 85, 91, 86, 86. Add them all up, divide by 5, because these are 2 of these. That's another way you can do this. But if your weighting is all different percents, you do it the weighted way. Then you just add this up and get your final grade. Don't multiply it by anything else when you get there. What do we have to do here? Find the mean. Okay, this is a frequency. Guys, this is a frequency. You're probably used to looking at it like this. And so forth. This is your L1, L2. Make sure you say 1 var stat, L1, comma L2. Or in the yellow calculators, your frequency is your L2. Make sure your frequency is your L2 or it won't work. Okay, and on the test, when I ask you for this, I need to see what you put in the calculator. Give me your step. If you did the 1 var stat with the L1, L2, just tell me 1 var stat, frequency L2. Because otherwise you're going to get just the mean of this part, which is probably like 3. The mean of that is 3. So you're not going to get the right mean. Okay, here's a little skewing in here. Follow your tail. This causes a skew to the left. So your mean and your median and your mode should fall in the middle. When there's a skew, actually this time your median and your mode fall there. But your mean follows the tail. It will be to the right of it. Because look, the frequency here is less than the frequency here. It's skewed left. If it's skewed right, what would be more, the mean or the median? The mean. Which one should you use in this case? Median.